You're on your election headquarters. There's some 34 days to the elections. How do you feel? How do you gauge the mood in our country? What's happening within your constituency? Have you decided on who you're voting for? Are you absolutely okay with the policies and the different issues that you're hearing? Yesterday, we started a conversation because of a news item, the retirement age of the military, and Roland and myself were talking about this. But the person who started off this on behalf of the NPP is the Deputy Majority Leader in Parliament, Mr. Dominic Nitiru, who is also Member of Parliament for Bimbilla. So he's joined us for a conversation, and of course we're going to get into his constituency to see how he's surviving, whether or not he's going to win. Yeah.
One of our own panelists usually who would come here,
exactly.
Dr. Mambwa Rocks.
Yeah.
Who's standing for the NDC, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Honorable Member of Parliament for Bimbilla, good morning to you. We're grateful that you could join us today.
Thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished listeners.
So this retirement age, 25 to 30, is it something that you've just considered, or this is a well thought out policy?
It's dangerous to just out of the blue just consider something when it has to do with the military. In fact, all the security services. So it's a well thought out plan. It's been something that we deliberately left out of the manifesto for some obvious reasons. We did our background checks, we did the consultations, and we thought that the time was right for the announcement. And so I did it in the flag bearer's house to send a message that it was top of the range policy decision by the party, by the campaign, and by the flag bearer. It's already something the military had done over the years anyway. You know, before, the focus of every military, especially when there was combat, when there was fighting all over the world was at war, and most of the time the focus was on combat, a lot of combat, fighting. So they needed a younger fighting force to always be on the move. But the threats today that are facing most countries, most peaceful countries like Ghana now that we have, is different. It's different and diverse. From terrorism to cybercrime to protecting your territorial integrity like waters and fishing and all, they're diverse. So you are beginning to see most countries retain very top experienced people in the army, in the navy, to be able to do that for them, particularly the other ranks. When it comes to the commissioned officers, that's different. Theirs is different. In fact, the top range guys can retire as old as 65 years for that same reason of experience. They don't go to the war front, but you needed the recruits, what we call the other ranks, to do the fighting. So they needed a younger generation. But things are different. But even in Ghana, it came to a time even as recently as 2009, 2010, 2008, where they were doing something we call £1 in the military. If you put your ears very well, you hear something we call £1. It just shows that when you reach the retirement age, then they give you contract basis in the state. Some could stay as much as 30 years, some could stay as much as 33, 32, 34, some even stayed beyond even 30, 35 years. And so it's something that has been done before, and so it's there. It's there before.
So, but if you have all these, then why do you want to promise that you would extend the retirement age to 30? What's the difference?
It's not a policy decision. It's not written, it's not cast in stone. It's not a policy decision by any government to say this. It was the military hierarchy that allowed that to happen. We are saying that instead of allowing them to retire at 25 years, officially you retire at 30 years. But that does not mean that if somebody decides at 25 years to leave voluntarily, anybody will stop him. No, not at all. But you need to ensure that they have their pension from the normal 15 years. If you enter the military, by 15 years, you are qualified for pension. So from 15 years, you can be paid your pension. If you retire from 20 years, you can be paid your pension. If you are 25 years, you'll be paid your pension. And 30 years, you'll be paid your pension. We have taken that decision. We will implement it. It's good for the military. It's good for the people of Ghana. It helps us. Have you ever looked at our veterans? Young, capable men, 45 years, 48 years, they go and they are sitting in their houses. Government is not even able to pay them their pensions. And it's so bad. It has to speak well of us as a nation. Life starts at 40. Then you have these young people who get out at 45 years, who get out at 48 years, some, if you are lucky, 50 years, and then they go home. So, next year I'll be 40, okay? Next year I'll be 40. I'm 39. Next year I'll be 40. And it means that if I had entered the military at 22 years, I have only 7 years, and then I'm gone. Do I look like somebody at 7 years I'll be gone? No. But that's what would have happened if I had entered the military as a recruit. Unfortunately for them too, a lot of them don't have the opportunities that you and myself have to be able to. You enter with SS, and by the time you are getting out, you have your masters, you have a good, you are a lawyer, you have a big profession. The military is not like that. A few of them are able to get through. I'm talking of the other ranks. A few of them are able to get through now. The majority are not able because of work schedules and other things. So they don't have the opportunities that we have. So every government must plan. And that's why we have started the planning. That, yes, so you now have up to 30 years. You start planning. The guy leaves the military, he has his money for resettlement. You plan his resettlement package from housing to benefits to medicals to everything. And that's the more reason why we are saying clearly that we have a military hospital for the southern sector. The military is now divided into 3 zones, a southern, middle, and the northern sector. We have a military hospital at the southern sector, 37. The first phase was there. Adokufo added the second phase through when the MPP was in power. We're going to add a third phase as part of our manifesto. Is there? The second phase, the hospital is being built currently in Kumasi. We'll put up one in Tamale to serve the northern command. And so the veterans who leave when they are above 50, 55, and they are there, they will have good first-class hospital or services. They will have medical services. They will have everything. So it's necessary for us to plan all over for people who sacrifice. Look, I've lived in a war area. My dear, I've lived in a war area throughout my life. Bimbla area, okay? I was born into that situation.
What's the
4 or 5 years when I was born, I had all the problems. I had all these problems, okay? I schooled through the area. So I've seen the sacrifices that our military people have given us. I've seen people leave their wives and have to stay in mosquito-infested areas, drinking very dirty water because there's no water in the area, struggling to survive. Then these people leave, and we don't have a plan for them. It's not good for us.
I get you, but is this something that you thought about as a party, or you actually sought the views of active military men today and they said that this is what we want? You
see, when you have a party like the MPP, that will form the next government, okay? Clearly,
that's if you win the December 7th.
The people of Ghana, I believe, have taken a decision. It's very clear. If you go on the field, it's very clear that God is the one that can change a decision. God appoints kings. I mean, you, the human being, cannot. But he does it through the human beings. So once the human beings start saying that this is what we're going to do, that's what God says is going to do. It hasn't
happened yet.
I'm saying that on the field, you see it clearly that there's a change agenda, the people want to change, and they will change Mahama. So let's leave that. But I'm saying clearly that if you have a party as big as an MPP, that potentially can form a government. Maybe that's what you want me to say. You will not just arbitrarily take a decision without consulting those who matter on the field. I chair a group, okay, this manifesto subcommittee on security, right from the military through the police to the navy to all the security, national security. I chair that group, and it's made up of ex-military personnel, then experts. We consulted almost all the experts that you can find around this country. The top military generals were part of it. Captains were part of it. Major generals were part of it. Top guys. Some of the names, when you're mentioning, you'll be like, wow, what happened?
So give us some of the names.
No, I will not, for obvious reasons.
Are these active military men you're talking about?
No, not active military men on the field will not do that. That will put active military men on the field on our thing. If they sympathize with us, even they will not do that because it's not right.
You can seek advice from them, but
we can seek advice.
Not permanently.
No, not at all. We will not do that. They are retired. They are retired military men. But we sought advice from active military men. We sought advice from the rank and file of the military. We sought advice all across. We all have friends. We have families. We have people. So we did that. Trust me, the people are happy. It's an announcement that shook the foundation of the presidency. And they know it. I'm not surprised the president reacted to it. But trust me, he himself knows that you don't put those things in the manifesto. You announce it as a policy.
So what difference is it going to make in the elections proper? We know that officers vote earlier than the rest of us. What difference in your estimation?
We are not doing it because we want the military to vote for us. That's why we're doing it. No, not at all.
Apart from that, what else? It's not for political capital
No. We think that this is good for the military, it's good for Ghana, and we are doing it. If it turns out that it's a vote catcher, I don't have a problem with that. I'll be happy. But the real reason we are doing it is not because we're doing it for votes. We'll never do that. You don't do things for, especially the military, for votes. You are crazy to do that. We will never do that. Okay. We are doing it because we believe it's a good policy for them. We believe it's a good policy for Ghana. We believe it's a good policy for our younger generation. For us to be able to plan and plan properly, it is one of the best decisions that have been taken in terms of retooling our military, refocusing the strategy of our military, redirecting them into things that will help you and myself. Can you imagine if we deploy our military into bridge construction all across the country? Can you imagine if we redeploy our military into helping our people? Look at all the resources that we are churning out into tree planning, into roads, into bridge construction, into things that ordinary military across the world also help do. Can you imagine if we could do that?
And that's a new focus for the MPP.
It's not just new focus. It's part of the grand plan that we are pushing. When we win the election, we're going to do all these things. You will say it, we'll roll it out, we get whoever is going to be the defense minister will get himself with hands on to help the military make sure that their housing is up, even if it means to immediately, which we are going to do, renovate all their houses and
as in renovates all the military barracks.
Oh, we call something a barracks regeneration program. It's in our manifesto. Barracks regeneration program.
Barracks regeneration program.
Yeah, barracks regeneration program. Clearly, it is unacceptable that where our people live, the police, the army, you go to their barracks.
Some of them are outmoded.
It's so outrageous. It's so demeaning. It's so inhuman.
Should it continue to be the responsibility of the state?
But whose responsibility?
The plan going forward is we pay all of them well so that they can rent just like any other person.
Police, yes. Police, yes. You see, the focus of the MPP is to increase the numbers. So obviously, you can't put all of them in the barracks. But those who are even living in the barracks now, you cannot allow them to live in the conditions under which they live. My dear, take it. Look, I've just given you an example. Take your cameras and go to where they live. You will weep.
What are we going to get the funds for? I'm
saying that you don't need huge funds to do these things. 5 million Ghana cedi can do a lot of work if you decide that you don't want 10% to your pocket. The moment you decide...
But where is the 5 million going to come from?
The 5 million is there. It's all over. Your taxes, my taxes, it's there. It's there.
It's just about prioritizing.
It's just about prioritizing. Go and look at the military budget. Go and look at the huge budget that was signed there. Do what the people want. Do what can help the people immediately. That's what we're going to do. First budget, do that program, get the Minister of Defense himself, go onto the field, renovate the things for them, get the military 48th Engineering Regiment to redesign the rooms, make sure it's up. And I tell you...
Well, it's good you said you consulted past military generals or experts, so to speak. And so you came to this very policy decision, and for which, if you win, you will outlay. But have you, or is this being announced from best practices around the world?
Yes, I believe that what is important is to...
Not what you believe. I mean, what's the benchmark?
The benchmark is exactly what I've just told you. If you are a government in waiting...
So which countries are you
I'm saying that if you are a government in waiting, all the top countries around the world do that.
Well, for example, I'm just reading a story from with the Wall Street Journal, and the United States of America, they don't have after 30 years. So why would Ghana want
What do they have?
They have currently 20 years.
And I'm saying
for the other ranks.
I'm saying that Ghana started at 15 years, ended at... Then Rawlings shot it up to 25 years, and then went to 25. No, Rawlings shot it to 20 years, went to 25 years. The United States...
It was 15, went to 18,
yeah,
and it went to...
I'm saying that the United States, for example, they are focused now for the other ranks. In fact, there are people in the United States Army for the other ranks that move even up to 30 years, that move up to 25 years. But they do what we call... They always recall them for combat, and they are always fighting. They are always on the war front. That is not the focus of the Ghana Army. You go to Israel, they are there, but they become what we call reserve. Then they move to their homes, and then anytime they can always recall them. So it is the strategic focus of every army, and the way they want their army to move. You don't want to have an army that is not fighting a war, that's only prepared for war, and they are sitting there and they do nothing else. That's not what we are saying. That's not the threat facing Ghana as we say today.
If you have other ranks for 30 years, and let's say predominantly you pick a bunch, let's say the next 2, 3, 4 years, and then that generation gets to the peak of their retirement, or perhaps the peak of their age, and then we're confronted with a certain conflict situation. How do they have old men going to fight for war?
The demographics of Ghana, the Ghana army today is very young. So that situation does not arise at all.
It will arise when perhaps you are not even a member of parliament. No, your government is not in power.
And I'm saying that the demographics... And
you have taken a decision 20, 30 years down the line.
I've just told you that even if you add 5 years, even if we were to add 10 years, the demographic will not lean them towards an old army. Not at all. I can tell you that. Not to talk of adding a 5 years. Even if you add 5 years, the army will still be a very young army. Aged between 30 to 40 years, that range. That will be the bulk of them.
That's
not a true story at all.
All right, let me read a message. Mamavi, with this unemployment rates in the country, don't you think the 5-year extension means number of new recruits will reduce, given the military is a source of employment?
It is very strange for anybody to allow your military to be a source of employment. If you're a government and your focus is that
Why not?
I tell you something.
Ghanaians immigrate to the United States of America just to go and join the U.S. Army.
No. I'm saying that if your military then becomes a source of employment for the youth, is dangerous. Military is a very serious vocation where people need to be committed to the job, to serve the nation, protect yourselves. The moment you make the military that people just go there because they want employment, and so they are not committed to that job, they are not disciplined, they are not dedicated, it is a dangerous army.
Do you think per population ratio,
can I finish?
The number of our military is enough per the population ratio?
It's not. It's not.
So why do you think that it can be a source of employment?
No, every 2 years. You see, the resource constraint in Ghana makes it, and the threats facing us, it makes it unwise for us to balloon the numbers like the police. It's not at all. So that is an option that nobody will want to do. And that's why I told you that you don't want the situation where your military will now become a source of employment. You look at it from the fact that, well, people go there because they want to get employed. There's no job, so they go there. It will destroy the fabric of the military. Military is discipline, dedication, will to die for the country. And so people go there and they have that dedication and zeal that this is what I want to do for the country. And that's why you need to ensure that you would give them something after they have retired.
Okay.
You will compensate them and compensate them well. And so you have a smaller force. If we're a country that was at war, that potentially has enemies all around us, you want the numbers, you want to invest in the huge equipment, you want to do that, you want to do this. Our threats are different now. We are lucky. Our threats are a bit different now. Focus may change. Policies may change. Maybe in 30, 40, 50 years. I hope it doesn't, because if we remain peaceful like Switzerland, they don't go look at the Swiss army. So, you don't have that kind of thing.
The last thing on this particular issue, when do you intend rolling this plan out? Should you win the December 7th elections?
It's one of the first things we'll be doing. One of the first decisions
in your first year.
And that's why we didn't put it in the manifesto. Then becomes the normal manifesto promise where some people will not even look at it and want to break it. No, it is a policy that has been well thought through. It's a policy that will be implemented in the first year. It's a policy that we want to push through and make sure it is done. First year, we want to do that. And if it goes with pension, that's a good thing about it. It goes with the pension. And so I'm just saying that, just take a look at your veterans. I was sitting yesterday when they brought the veteran thing and said I should give some money.
Medals?
Yes, the medals.
Rebels.
The rebels thing. Then they said I should give some money. I told them that, you see, this is what we should not be doing. That people, young girls and boys will not have to go around and sourcing arms to go and help our veterans. We should not do this to ourselves.
Let's get into your constituency proper, the Bimbala constituency. Of course, we're talking elections. We've got to ask you, how's your campaign going on the ground? You've got a strong opposition, if you like.
I need to remind him, Dr. Mambwa Roxy.
He's not a strong opposition at all.
He's contesting for the NDC.
He's not a strong
He's been in the studio. He says he's going to win us now.
Maybe he doesn't know the constituency because he was at Nkwanta North. He lost there twice. He lost in 2008 and 2004 as an independent candidate. He lost in 2008 as the NDC candidate. What he should have done to himself would have been to find out what exactly made him lose 2 successive elections.
But it wasn't the same constituency, was it?
It's different. And so he's jumped from that constituency and come to Bimbala. Obviously, people don't know him there. He doesn't even come from the area. People don't know him there. But for the sake of peace, we have just decided that don't bother yourself. But he's not going to win the elections anyway, so we don't want to bother ourselves. If you are a party, if you are a candidate, the first thing you've got to do is to unite your party. Because there was a candidate before you came. The current DC was a candidate. And I contested him a couple of times. And the first thing you have to do as a candidate is to retain the support base of the person you are taking over from. Then you add on to it. Today you have a candidate who cannot sit in the same meeting with his chairman, who has serious problem with his party itself.
How do you know all these? You are not in the party.
But I'm in the area. We are all there. We see what is going on. We all know what is going on. I know what is happening in his camp. He knows what is happening in my camp. And it's all over. Just take your phone and call Bimbilla, anybody in Bimbilla, and find out whether what I'm saying is true or not. You have a candidate who has a divided party there. You cannot unite. You have a candidate who has decided to get involved in the Bimbilla chieftaincy case. You do that, you have lost the elections. The moment you decide that Bimbilla has a huge chieftaincy case, you all know that that's led to the death, that's led to the unfortunate killings of people. And so once you are a candidate and you try to plunge into that matter, you are finished. You are a candidate who does that. I have been the MP for all this while. What I have sought to do is to unite the people of Bimbilla and bring in development.
What kind of infrastructure? When we mention your name, Dominic Nitiwo, MP for Bimbilla, what can we put by your name that you've done in the constituency? So
many things. One, the first thing I promised my people was peace, which by the will of God I have achieved. Between the Konkombes and Nanumbe, you all know when you hear Konkombes and Nanumbe, the problems that have come. I've united the people now. So you go there, nobody talks about it. You don't even know there was a problem. And so I brought the two groups together. That's the first thing I did. The second thing is development. Personally, trust me, over the last 2 years, I've put together a very good non-governmental organization. Together, we have provided over 69 boreholes, just water. And I used to do others. I've provided myself plus them over 70 boreholes. I've started constructing roads, electricity from my pocket and from other sources. I've done personally, not what government has done. I've done more than about 10 communities personally. Now, with government, by the time I came as an MP, Bimbilla constituency had about 6 communities that had electricity. Today, we are over 50 communities that are having electricity. So I don't want to sit here and be boasting what I have done, but I can tell you that if you go onto the ground, every community would say, he built that school. He put up this clinic, Chief's compound. I just finished one is a roofing level. He did this, he did that, he did that. And I'm okay.
Are all those infrastructure supposed to be your responsibility?
They are not my responsibility. The central government is not doing it. They are not doing it.
Now you want to paint government black?
I'm not painting, I'm telling you the truth. If you ask my DCE today, over the last 4 years, what they use the common fund for, you tell you that it's peace. You know, the security forces that are there have virtually consumed everything. He'll tell you. If he wants, you can call him. You have his numbers. You can call him. He'll tell you that they consume. Tell him that he should give you the projects that Common Fund has done. I get 5% of what they get. But he should tell you, point out to you that what are the projects that Common Fund itself, I use the word Common Fund, has done. I will tell you that it's been consumed by that. So the responsibility is now resting on me to use the meager Common Fund, health insurance, and Get Fund to do what I'm talking about. Then the rest, it then becomes on me to go look for funds. And so I source for funds for ministers, I source for funds for organizations, from NGOs, and then I do all the things. So
government is still working with you then?
I'm not saying that government is not working with me.
You want to take all the glory?
I'm not taking any glory. If I do that, God himself will not forgive me. I've never said that, no, I will bring God inside. God will forgive me. Human beings will not forgive me, okay? Human beings will not forgive me. I'm telling you that I'm not taking the glory, but I'm pointing out the obvious. Okay, I go to, for example, say Common Fund administrator and tell him, look, my brother, this community, I need to buy poles. I need to buy 400 poles for them. And then we talk at the end, okay, this is the resource. I go and buy and go and put it there for the communities. Why? Who should take the glory? Government?
All right. We have to wrap up. Let's read a bit of your messages and it will be mixed. This one says, it sounds as a good policy, but don't you think it will eliminate the chance of those other ranks who want to commission? Because even if you join the army at 20, you would have been 50. So back on the military case, MD Kwesima says, violence, even when it appears to do good, the good is only temporary, but the evil it does is permanent. War is as outmoded as cannibalism and chattel slavery. Okay, I have to come back to this message. I think it has to do with the peace that we're talking about. But this one says, please ask Honorable Nitiwo what the MPP did to improve the conditions of the security agencies when they were in power. Ghanaians are discerning. That's your thoughts. Wow, Nitiwo has made my day. I'm proud of you, bro. That's from Majid. Majidi sent us a post. We'll come back to that.
The selfie?
Yeah, the selfie. Brilliant idea from the NPP concerning our military service. It's painful seeing a military man who has served everyone and still suffer after retirement at age 45. We're behind them. Cups to the NPP. Bien Janama from Nangpanduri sending us that message.
Wow.
So lots of message on this particular conversation, but we have to wrap it up. We have to make way for business because it's Wednesday. This one says, God really bless what the man is saying, because the way retired soldiers are living is not encouraging at all. Being cost of living, healthcare, etc., nothing good to talk about. Most of them work as security to support themselves, even as old as they look. Ama Amwako in Kumasi sending that message. I think that was this particular message I've been looking for. Somebody sent it a bit earlier. Okay, so we have to wrap it up, but we want to say thank you for being here, Mr. Nitiwu. This one from Danladi Musa from Garu Timpani says, good morning, Nitiwu, you are winning. In God's name, amen. Okay, thanks for that message. Just before we say goodbye to you, what will be your last words with us?
Well, first of all, I want to pledge on behalf of the New Patriotic Party that we're not going to do anything that will bring anything untoward to this country. We are committed to a very, very peaceful election. We know by the grace of the Almighty, Nana Addo will win the elections, so we will not do anything at all that will bring violence, that will bring untold hardship, that will put any Ghanaian's life at risk. And we expect our opponents to do the same. We want the Electoral Commission to be fair to everybody. We don't want to cheat anybody. We don't want anybody to cheat us. And so I will urge that some of the attacks that we have been seeing on our people should stop. We don't want to retaliate. We want a peaceful elections. At the same time, we want the security forces to be fair to everybody. The police, the army, the prisons, the fire service, they should be fair to everybody. And the Electoral Commission should be fair to everybody. And at the end of the day, the Almighty God will decide who will win. But it's clear that the people of Ghana want to change. And if they want that change, so be it.
Mr. Nitiwu, thanks for your time. There's a last message from Dallas. He thinks that you're winning. Okay. Mr. Dominic Nitiwu, Member of Parliament for Bimbala and Deputy Majority Leader.
I will not disappoint him. I'll call you at 9 o'clock on the 7th.
Okay.
9 o'clock on
9.
That's voting day.
Yeah.
Oh,
9
is that 2 hours after? Or you mean on the 8th?
9 o'clock on the 7th of December. 9 p.m.
You call me.
I'll call you.
Okay.
I promise you that.
At the time,
okay, my phone will be on.
The election.
Thank you, sir, for being here. We wish you the best in the coming elections.